Australia is witnessing the largest boom in coal and gas extraction the nation has ever seen. We're the second largest coal exporter on the planet and growing fast.
Climate change has been cast as an environmental problem, and while it is an environmental problem, it's also equally a problem for our health and our economy. Coal mining has a variety of health effects, both in communities where coal is mined, but also as a consequence of combustion of coal, mostly through air pollution.
While the health effects of coal and gas have been poorly researched in Australia, they've been well documented overseas.
The most concerning impact is the excess deaths associated with coal mining for residents, local residents, and that includes death from lung cancer, from kidney disease and from heart disease.
In children particularly, there are greater rates of wheezing in coal mining communities, and there is evidence for low birth weight children and fetal abnormalities in those communities. We know quite a lot about air pollution and how it affects human health, particularly cardiac and respiratory disease, and we know that coal mining and burning results in significant quantities of air pollutants, particularly gaseous compounds like sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxides, and also particulate matter.
Well, the toxins can attach to the particulates, and when they're very small, that means they can get into the bloodstream and get carried to different organs in the body. The heart seems to be one of the most susceptible.
The unconventional gas industry is expanding rapidly in Australia. Unconventional gas refers to natural gas resources trapped in coal, shale and tight sands. One of the most common techniques for extracting unconventional gas is hydraulic fracturing, or fracking.
To fracture a seam, you basically pump in at very high pressure water, chemicals, radioactive traces and what are called proppants. And they open up the cracks and let the gas run free.
More than 500 chemicals are being used in the unconventional gas industry globally. Of the 23 commonly used in Australia, only 2 have been assessed in relation to health and neither for their use in hydraulic fracking.
We have carcinogens, chemicals that can cause cancer. We have reproductive toxins. We have chemicals that affect neurological behaviour. We have chemicals that affect endocrine systems, our hormone systems. They are quite a nasty bunch.
The community at Tara in Queensland are living in close proximity to gas wells. Brisbane GP Geraldine McCarran has documented a variety of health impacts in the community. This includes skin, eye and nose irritation, nosebleeds, respiratory symptoms, difficulty breathing and neurological problems.
We're particularly worried about the small children because, for example, we have kids that have got into the bath and come out with a rash on the lower half of their body, like a severe irritation and rash. We have kids who have nosebleeds. We have littlies who have got, paresthesia, who are waking up in the middle of the night screaming because they've got pins and needles and horrible sensations in their hands and their feet. These are serious symptoms. They're not the sort of thing that a parent just dismisses, and they are the type of symptoms that must be properly investigated.
Given what the international literature tells us about the health impacts of coal and unconventional gas, what research are we doing here in Australia?
There's very little research in Australia about the health impacts of either burning or extracting coal or coal seam gas. This is a real problem given that there is such a massive expansion in places where people live and we really don't know what the impacts are going to be.
We can't make sensible decisions about policy about mining and regulations about mining because we actually don't know what it's doing to our communities.
So we should really be moving towards renewable energy generation. We know that renewable energy is not just good for reducing our carbon emissions, but it also has significant health co-benefits and other environmental benefits too, in terms of reducing air pollution and water use and other pollutants into our environment.
So what are the implications for unconventional gas?
I think if a proper cost-benefit analysis was done of this industry, of the true cost of the waste, the cost to agriculture, the cost to community health, it would never be allowed to go ahead.